The Stoics believed in mastering one's mind and actions to build meaningful connections. Yet, many men unknowingly sabotage their relationships by making avoidable mistakes. These missteps, often subtle, can drive women away even when the intent is good. If you want to maintain and deepen a connection, you must recognize and correct these behaviors. In this video, we'll uncover 7 major mistakes that men make in relationships and what you can do to avoid them. Stick around until the end to understand how the Stoics' timeless wisdom can guide you to healthier, more fulfilling connections. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Chapter 1: Being in a hurry to start a relationship. Rushing into a relationship is one of the biggest turn-offs. When you move too quickly, declaring love, pressing for commitment, or attempting to define the relationship early, it can make you appear desperate or insincere. Women value authenticity and patience, and the process of building emotional intimacy is one that cannot be forced. Relationships, at their best, are a dance of mutual discovery and growing affection, not a race to the finish line. Moving too quickly often stems from a fear of losing an opportunity or a desire for instant gratification. However, this urgency can create an uncomfortable dynamic as it bypasses the natural rhythm of getting to know someone. When you skip the foundational stages of understanding each other's values, personalities, and quirks, you risk creating a shallow connection that lacks depth and longevity. True relationships are built brick by brick, not rushed into existence. The Stoics emphasized the importance of pacing yourself in all aspects of life, including relationships. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." Wrestling requires strategy, patience, and the ability to anticipate your next move. Similarly, relationships thrive when you approach them with intentionality and composure rather than hurried actions that leave you vulnerable or misunderstood. When you push for a relationship too soon, you inadvertently remove the sense of mystery and excitement that naturally build over time. Getting to know someone is a process of unfolding layers, where each moment reveals something new and intriguing. By rushing, you deny both yourself and your partner the joy of this gradual discovery. The pressure to commit prematurely can feel overwhelming, leading to discomfort or even the dissolution of a promising connection. Instead of forcing the pace, focus on letting the connection evolve organically. Show your interest through thoughtful actions and genuine curiosity about her life. Ask meaningful questions, listen attentively, and allow her to feel that your attention is sincere rather than driven by a need for validation or immediate results. These small, intentional steps create a foundation of trust and mutual respect, which are far more valuable than any rushed declarations of love. Take time to reflect on what motivates your urgency. Are you seeking a relationship to fill a void, or are you trying to prove something to yourself or others? Recognizing these underlying drivers can help you approach the situation with more clarity and patience. A fulfilling relationship comes from 2 individuals who are whole on their own, not from trying to find someone to complete you. By addressing your personal insecurities and embracing self-growth, you'll naturally project confidence and emotional stability, which are qualities women find deeply attractive. Confidence and patience go hand in hand. A man who takes his time demonstrates that he values the relationship enough to let it grow naturally. Women are drawn to this kind of emotional steadiness as it signals maturity and self-assurance. Rather than overwhelming her with premature commitments, show her that you're willing to invest in the relationship at a pace that feels comfortable for both of you. This balance of showing interest without rushing creates a sense of security, allowing the connection to deepen authentically. Finally, remember that building a relationship is not just about reaching a destination, but enjoying the journey. Each conversation, shared moment, and experience adds depth and meaning to the connection. By focusing on the present and being fully engaged, you show her that you value her for who she is, not just as a means to satisfy your own needs. In doing so, You foster an environment where both partners feel appreciated and understood, laying the groundwork for a meaningful and lasting bond. Patience is not about waiting passively, it's about understanding that the best things in life take time to grow. The strongest relationships are those that are nurtured with care, respect, and a willingness to let the connection unfold in its own time. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, life and love require strategy and balance. Approach relationships with this mindset, and you'll find that the results are far more rewarding than anything rushed or forced. Let the journey unfold naturally, and trust that the right person will meet you at the right pace. Chapter 2. Being overly possessive. Trust is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, and being overly possessive can quickly shatter it. Constantly checking on her whereabouts, questioning her actions, or showing jealousy over harmless interaction sends the message that you don't trust her. While these behaviors may stem from your own insecurities or fear of losing her, they create an unhealthy dynamic that can push her away rather than bring her closer. Possessiveness often masquerades as care or concern, but it's rooted in fear and a need for control. When you monitor her actions or react negatively to her interactions with others, you're not protecting the relationship, you're suffocating it. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and trust, where both partners feel free to be themselves. A possessive attitude undermines this foundation, creating an atmosphere of tension and doubt instead of security and connection. Stoicism teaches us to control only what is within our power, and this principle is especially relevant in relationships. You can't control someone else's actions, only your response to them. Epictetus wisely said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. This philosophy reminds us that trying to control others is not only futile, but also destructive to both parties. When you let go of possessiveness, you allow her the freedom to be herself, which strengthens your bond and fosters a deeper level of trust. Trust is a gift you give to someone you care about, and it requires courage. It's natural to feel vulnerable when you open your heart to another person, but attempting to control or monitor her every move won't protect you from heartbreak, it will only erode the love and respect you're trying to cultivate. Instead of focusing on what she's doing or who she's talking to, shift your attention inward. Work on building your own sense of self-worth and confidence, so you're not reliant on constant reassurance from her to feel secure. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities you can have in a relationship. Trust her to make the right decisions, and don't let your insecurities dictate your behavior. A confident man understands that his value isn't diminished by his partner's independence. In fact, he celebrates it. By showing her that you value her freedom and individuality, you demonstrate emotional maturity and create an environment where she feels safe and respected. If you struggle with possessiveness, take a step back and examine the root cause. Are you afraid of being hurt or abandoned? Do you fear that you're not enough for her? These feelings are valid, but they need to be addressed within yourself rather than projected onto her. Consider journaling, meditating, or even seeking professional guidance to unpack these emotions and develop healthier patterns of thinking. Relationships thrive when both partners feel trusted and respected. When you let go of the need to control her actions, you'll notice a positive shift in your connection. She'll feel more secure with you because she knows that you see her as an equal, not as someone you need to monitor or manage. This mutual respect creates a foundation of love and trust that can withstand challenges and grow stronger over time. Remember, love is not about possession, it's about freedom. The freedom to be yourself, to make your own choices, and to trust that your partner loves and respects you for who you are. When you embrace this mindset, you'll find that your relationship becomes more fulfilling and harmonious. True confidence comes from within, and when you exude that confidence, you'll naturally inspire trust and loyalty in your partner. Chapter 3. Talking about your ex. Nothing derails a budding relationship faster than repeatedly bringing up your ex. Whether it's comparing her to your former partner, sharing unresolved issues, or subtly referencing past memories, it creates an awkward and uncomfortable atmosphere. It signals that you're not emotionally ready to move forward or fully invest in the present relationship. No one wants to feel like they're competing with someone who's no longer in your life. The Stoics valued living in the present moment, seeing it as the only reality we truly have. Seneca wisely said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This reminds us that life constantly offers opportunities to start fresh, but only if we are willing to let go of what holds us back. Bringing your ex into the conversation, even unintentionally, can make your current partner feel undervalued, as if they're merely a placeholder in your story rather than a meaningful part of it. To truly connect with someone new, you must leave the past where it belongs. Dwelling on old wounds or past relationships not only hinders your emotional growth, but also prevents you from appreciating the unique qualities of the person in front of you. Each relationship is a chance to build something fresh and meaningful, and that requires leaving behind the baggage that no longer serves you. Instead of dragging old stories or comparisons into the conversation, focus on learning about your new partner. What are her dreams, values, and passions? What excites her about life? By giving her your full attention and energy, you demonstrate emotional maturity and a readiness to embrace the present fully. If you find yourself tempted to bring up your ex, pause and reflect. Ask yourself what purpose it serves. Are you still processing unresolved emotions, or are you looking for validation? Acknowledge these feelings privately, but don't let them seep into your new connection. Consider journaling or speaking to a trusted friend to process lingering thoughts about the past so they don't spill into your current relationship. By choosing to focus on the present moment and appreciating your new partner for who she is, you'll create a strong foundation for a relationship rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. Let the past stay where it belongs, behind you. After all, the only way to truly move forward is to release what no longer serves you. Chapter 4. Being stingy. Generosity is one of the most attractive qualities you can display in a relationship, and it extends far beyond financial matters. It encompasses your time, attention, emotional availability, and willingness to give without expecting something in return. When you're stingy in any of these areas, it sends a signal that you're not fully invested, making her question your intentions and commitment. Being stingy with money is perhaps the most obvious form of this behavior, but it's not the only way it manifests. Refusing to pay for a date, splitting hairs over small expenses, or constantly expecting her to contribute equally might make her feel undervalued. While modern relationships often emphasize partnership and fairness, there's a difference between being fair and being ungenerous. A lack of financial generosity can come across as a lack of care, leaving her wondering whether you truly prioritize her happiness. But generosity isn't just about what's in your wallet, it's also about how freely you give your time and attention. If you're always too busy to make time for her, cancel plans frequently, or spend more time scrolling through your phone than engaging with her during a date, you're being stingy with something even more valuable than money, your presence. Women want to feel seen, heard, and valued, and withholding your time or attention sends the message that you don't truly care about creating a meaningful connection. Emotional stinginess is another subtle but powerful relationship killer. If you find it difficult to open up, share your feelings, or be there for her when she's going through a tough time, it can make you appear distant and uninvested. Relationships thrive on emotional intimacy, and by holding back, you deny both yourself and your partner the opportunity to deepen your bond. Women notice when you're not fully present or when you seem unwilling to support them emotionally, and it can quickly erode the foundation of trust and mutual care. The Stoics understood the value of generosity as a fundamental principle of living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized acting in harmony with others and contributing to the greater good. Generosity, in this context, isn't about grand gestures or material wealth, It's about selflessness and a willingness to enrich the lives of those around you. By embracing this mindset, you not only strengthen your relationship, but also grow as a person. Being generous doesn't mean overextending yourself or trying to impress her with expensive gifts or lavish outings. True generosity lies in the thoughtfulness and effort behind your actions. It's about remembering the little details, like her favorite coffee order or the book she mentioned wanting to read, and surprising her with those small but meaningful gestures. It's about taking the time to listen to her without distractions, offering your support when she's struggling, and being willing to compromise when conflicts arise. When you give freely, you create an environment of trust and warmth in the relationship. She'll feel secure knowing that you're someone who values her and is willing to invest in her happiness. Generosity fosters a sense of partnership where both people feel equally appreciated and supported. In contrast, stinginess, whether with money, time, or emotions, breeds resentment and frustration, making her feel undervalued and disconnected. Consider how stinginess might reflect deeper insecurities or fears. Are you afraid of being taken advantage of? Are you worried that if you give too much, you'll lose control or become vulnerable? The Stoics taught us to confront our fears and act in accordance with virtue, even when it's uncomfortable. Generosity requires a level of vulnerability, but it also brings immense rewards in the form of deeper connections and greater fulfillment. Being generous doesn't mean saying yes to everything or neglecting your own needs. It's about finding balance, giving freely without compromising your boundaries or sense of self. When you're generous in a healthy and thoughtful way, you're not just enriching her life, you're also enriching your own. Relationships are about reciprocity, and your willingness to give will often inspire her to do the same, creating a cycle of mutual care and support. Imagine how it feels to be on the receiving end of stinginess. When someone is hesitant to give, whether it's their time, money, or attention, it creates a sense of distance and isolation. Conversely, when someone is generous, it fosters feelings of gratitude, closeness, and trust. By choosing to be generous, you're not just making her feel good, you're also building a stronger, more resilient relationship. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting and that our true legacy lies in the impact we have on others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Acts of generosity, no matter how small, create ripples that extend far beyond the moment. Whether it's sharing a kind word, offering your undivided attention, or simply being there when she needs you, your actions leave a lasting impression. Generosity also reinforces your own sense of self-worth. When you give without expectation, you affirm your ability to contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. This isn't just about impressing her, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts meaningful relationships through their kindness and selflessness. In the end, being generous is about creating a relationship where both partners feel valued, supported, and connected. It's about showing her that you're willing to invest in her happiness and that you see the relationship as a priority. When you embrace the Stoic virtues of selflessness and generosity, you create a bond that is not only strong, but also deeply fulfilling for both of you. Chapter 5. Pushing for intimacy too soon. Rushing into physical intimacy too early in a relationship often has the opposite effect of what you might hope for. Instead of fostering closeness, it can create feelings of discomfort, distrust, and even objectification. A meaningful connection takes time to grow, and pressuring her into intimacy before she's ready undermines the foundation of trust and respect necessary for a relationship to thrive. When you push for physical closeness too soon, it can send a message that you're more interested in what you can gain from the relationship than in genuinely understanding and valuing her as a person. This approach is often perceived as shallow or selfish, which can drive her away, even if she was initially attracted to you. The Stoics believed in patience and self-control, virtues that are crucial when navigating the early stages of a relationship. Epictetus once said, "First, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Similarly, when it comes to intimacy, first learn to understand her emotional state and readiness. Approaching a relationship with sensitivity and consideration shows that you respect her boundaries and view her as more than just an object of desire. True intimacy, whether physical, emotional, or mental, requires trust, and trust cannot be rushed. Building trust involves consistent actions that demonstrate your reliability, attentiveness, and respect for her feelings. When she sees that you're willing to take the time to truly get to know her and understand her needs, she's more likely to feel comfortable and secure in deepening the relationship. Rushing intimacy can also backfire by making her question your intentions. If she feels pressured, she might start to wonder whether you're genuinely interested in her as a person or merely seeking to fulfill your own desires. This uncertainty can create a rift, leaving her feeling emotionally distant and less inclined to invest in the relationship. A better approach is to let the relationship unfold naturally. Focus on building a strong emotional connection first. Show her that you're invested in who she is, her thoughts, values, and experiences before focusing on physical closeness. This not only fosters a deeper bond, but also allows intimacy to develop organically, making it more meaningful when it happens. The Stoic principle of living in harmony with nature applies here. Just as plants take time to grow and blossom, relationships need space and time to flourish. Forcing a plant to bloom too quickly can damage it, just as pressuring a relationship can lead to its collapse. By respecting the natural pace of the connection, you show maturity and emotional intelligence, qualities that women deeply appreciate. It's also important to recognize the emotional weight that intimacy carries for many people. For her, physical closeness might symbolize trust, commitment, or emotional vulnerability. When you rush this stage, you risk disregarding the deeper meaning it holds for her, which can make her feel undervalued or misunderstood. Consider how your actions align with your intentions. If your goal is to create a lasting and meaningful relationship, your behavior should reflect patience, respect, and a willingness to wait until both of you are equally ready to take that step. The Stoics emphasized that true virtue lies in aligning one's actions with one's principles. By practicing restraint and demonstrating respect for her boundaries, you not only uphold your own values, but also show her that you're someone she can trust. On a practical level, focus on the moments that build emotional intimacy. Listen actively when she shares her thoughts and feelings. Spend time together engaging in activities that allow you to bond without the pressure of physical closeness. Compliment her in ways that highlight her personality and values, rather than just her appearance. These small gestures help create a sense of safety and mutual respect, laying the groundwork for deeper intimacy in the future. Another important aspect of patience is being able to read her cues. Pay attention to how she responds to physical touch or flirtation. If she seems hesitant or uncomfortable, take a step back. Respect her pace and let her guide the progression of the relationship. Being attuned to her feelings shows emotional intelligence and consideration, which are qualities that strengthen the connection. Rushing intimacy can also reflect a deeper issue, your own insecurities or fears. Perhaps you're seeking physical closeness as a way to validate the relationship or to reassure yourself of her interest. The Stoics teach us to address our internal struggles rather than project them outward. Take time to reflect on why you feel the need to push for intimacy and work on building your self-confidence and emotional resilience. Epictetus's wisdom applies here: no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a figure. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. The same is true of relationships. Rushing intimacy skips the important steps of blossoming and bearing fruit, leading to something that feels rushed and incomplete. When you prioritize emotional connection and mutual respect, physical intimacy becomes a natural extension of the bond you've created. It's no longer something that's pressured or forced, but rather something that emerges organically, strengthening the relationship rather than straining it. Ultimately, pushing for intimacy too soon not only risks damaging the relationship, but also deprives you of the opportunity to experience the depth and richness that comes from a connection built on trust, respect, and shared values. By practicing patience and embracing the Stoic virtues of self-control and consideration, you create a relationship that is truly fulfilling for both of you. Chapter 6. Not being straightforward. Reliability and honesty are cornerstones of any meaningful relationship. When a man fails to keep his promises, avoids difficult conversations, or communicates in a vague and ambiguous manner, it creates an atmosphere of uncertainty and distrust. Women value straightforwardness because it signals maturity, respect, and a genuine commitment to the connection. When you're not clear about your intentions or fail to follow through on what you say, it can make her question your integrity and the sincerity of your feelings. Being straightforward doesn't mean being blunt or tactless. It's about expressing yourself with clarity and respect, leaving no room for confusion about where you stand. If you're interested in her, let her know. If you're unsure about a situation or need time to process your feelings, communicate that as well. Vagueness or avoidance might seem like an easier path in the moment, but it often leads to misunderstandings and emotional distance. Stoic philosophy places a high value on truth and consistency, viewing these traits as essential to living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In relationships, this translates to being a man of your word and owning your actions. When you say you'll do something, follow through. When you make a commitment, honor it. These small actions build trust and demonstrate that you are someone who can be relied upon. Consider this: when you're not straightforward, you're essentially placing the burden of figuring out your intentions on the other person. This can lead to frustration and insecurity, especially if she's left wondering where she stands with you. Women appreciate men who take the lead in communication, clearly articulating their feelings and intentions. It shows that you're not only confident, but also considerate of her emotional well-being. For instance, imagine you've agreed to meet her at a specific time, but something comes up. Instead of leaving her waiting or offering a vague excuse, communicate the situation honestly and promptly. A simple message like, "I'm really sorry, something's come up and I'll be late. Can we reschedule or push back the time?" shows accountability and respect for her time. These small acts of straightforwardness go a long way in establishing trust. Failing to be straightforward often stems from fear of conflict, rejection, or making the wrong impression. However, avoiding honesty to protect yourself can damage the relationship in the long run. The Stoics teach us to confront our fears head-on, focusing on what is within our control. You can't control how someone will react to your honesty, but you can control your commitment to being truthful and authentic. Moreover, being straightforward doesn't just apply to your actions, it also applies to your emotions. If something is bothering you or if you're feeling uncertain, share it in a constructive and respectful way. Bottling up your feelings or pretending everything is fine when it not only creates distance between you and your partner. Open, honest communication fosters a sense of intimacy and mutual understanding, strengthening the connection between you. Transparency is especially crucial when it comes to discussing the future of the relationship. If you're looking for something serious, make that clear. If you're not ready for a committed relationship, be honest about that too. Leading her on or avoiding the conversation altogether may feel like the easier choice in the moment, but it ultimately sets both of you up for disappointment. Honesty about your intentions, even if it's not what she wants to hear, is always better than leaving her in the dark. The Stoic principle of living in alignment with your values is particularly relevant here. If you value trust, respect, and integrity, your actions and words should reflect those principles. Being straightforward isn't just about what you say, it's about how you live. Your consistency and reliability should be evident in every aspect of your behavior, from how you communicate to how you treat her on a daily basis. Women are incredibly perceptive, and they can often tell when something is off. If you're not being straightforward, she'll likely sense it, even if she doesn't confront you about it directly. This can create a sense of unease or mistrust, even if she can't quite put her finger on why. Being upfront eliminates this ambiguity, creating a relationship dynamic that is rooted in openness and mutual respect. To cultivate straightforwardness, practice self-awareness and mindfulness. Before speaking or acting, ask yourself, is this truthful? Does it align with my values? Am I communicating in a way that is clear and respectful? By making these questions a habit, you can ensure that your words and actions consistently reflect your commitment to honesty and integrity. In moments where you're tempted to avoid the truth or sugarcoat your intentions, remember the Stoic emphasis on courage. Honesty often requires vulnerability, but it's through this vulnerability that deeper connections are formed. As Marcus Aurelius observed, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Embrace the discomfort of being straightforward as an opportunity for growth, both in your character and in your relationships. Ultimately, being straightforward is about showing her that you respect her enough to be honest and dependable. It's about creating a foundation of trust and clarity that allows the relationship to thrive. When you embrace this approach, you not only strengthen your bond with her, but also grow as a person, embodying the Stoic ideals of truth, consistency, and virtue. Chapter 7: Timidity or being overly talkative. Finding the perfect equilibrium between confidence and humility is one of the most vital skills in building connections. When a man is overly timid, he risks coming across as passive or uninterested, leaving the impression that he lacks the self-assurance to engage meaningfully. On the other hand, being excessively talkative, dominating the conversation without actively listening, can make you appear self-absorbed and uninterested in her thoughts or feelings. Confidence isn't about loudness or constant chatter, it's about having a presence that communicates assurance and curiosity. Women value a man who knows when to speak and, more importantly, when to listen. It's the art of creating a dynamic interaction where both voices feel equally heard and valued, fostering a sense of mutual respect. Stoicism has long emphasized the importance of balance and moderation. Epictetus famously stated, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This isn't about deliberately diminishing yourself, but rather being comfortable with vulnerability. Confidence isn't about knowing all the answers, it's about being secure enough to admit when you don't and genuinely engaging in the process of understanding. Timidity often stems from fear of rejection, saying the wrong thing, or not being enough. But Stoic wisdom teaches us to focus only on what lies within our control. You can't control how others perceive you, but you can control how you present yourself. When you choose to approach interactions with authenticity and openness, timidity begins to fade, replaced by genuine confidence. At the other extreme, being overly talkative often stems from a desire to impress or fill silences. This need to overcompensate can come across as insecure or, worse, self-centered. True confidence is quiet, it doesn't need to announce itself repeatedly. When you dominate a conversation, you not only miss the opportunity to learn about her, but you also risk alienating her by making her feel unheard or undervalued. Listening actively is an underrated yet essential skill in any relationship. It's not just about hearing her words, but truly understanding their meaning, acknowledging her perspective, and responding thoughtfully. This demonstrates that you value her opinions and are invested in what she has to say. Ask open-ended questions that invite her to share her thoughts and resist the urge to steer every topic back to yourself. Imagine a conversation like a dance, with each partner taking turns to lead and follow. When you allow space for her to express herself, you create an environment where she feels seen and respected. In turn, this strengthens her connection to you and deepens the bond between you. The Stoics also remind us that silence can be as powerful as speech. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your mind constantly consider how all things come to pass and how all things are connected." This mindfulness can be applied to conversations. Pausing to reflect, rather than rushing to respond, demonstrates thoughtfulness and emotional intelligence, traits that women find deeply attractive. Being a great conversationalist is not about dazzling her with endless anecdotes or witty remarks. It's about creating a dialogue where she feels safe to share her thoughts, dreams, and vulnerabilities. When you balance this with sharing your own stories and insights, you establish a dynamic that is both engaging and intimate. For instance, if she shares a passion or an experience, resist the temptation to immediately one-up her or change the topic to yourself. Instead, delve deeper into her story. Ask her what drew her to that passion or how it impacted her. This not only shows genuine interest, but also keeps the conversation focused on her, making her feel valued and understood. At the same time, don't be afraid to share your thoughts and experiences when appropriate. Vulnerability, as the Stoics recognized, is not a weakness but a strength. It allows others to connect with you on a deeper level, seeing you as authentic and relatable rather than distant or overly guarded. To strike the perfect balance, practice mindfulness in your interactions. Pay attention to her verbal and non-verbal cues. Does she seem engaged, or is she withdrawing? Does she seem eager to share, or is she waiting for you to stop talking? Adjusting your approach based on her reaction shows emotional intelligence and adaptability, both of which are incredibly attractive qualities. Ultimately, being timid or overly talkative are two sides of the same coin. They both stem from insecurity and a lack of awareness. The key to overcoming both lies in cultivating self-assurance, being present in the moment, and prioritizing genuine connection over performance. By embracing the Stoic principle of moderation, you can develop a conversational style that is confident yet humble, assertive yet empathetic. This not only makes you a better communicator, but also strengthens your relationships, creating a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. Avoiding these 7 mistakes requires self-awareness, patience, and emotional intelligence, qualities that align perfectly with Stoic teachings. By embracing trust, honesty, and balance, you can build stronger, more meaningful connections with women. Remember, relationships thrive on mutual respect and effort. If you've made these mistakes before, take this as an opportunity to grow and improve. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help others avoid these pitfalls.